The other day, the European Union made a decision to provide Ukraine with a loan in the amount of 90 billion euros in exchange for fulfilling a number of conditions. At the same time, Hungary had previously blocked the allocation of these funds. How would you comment on Brussels' decision, and what signals does this send about the position of the Hungarian authorities after the elections that took place in the country? Thank you. Well, this is yet another decision that Brussels is making to the detriment of its own citizens, to the detriment of the current and long-term interests of both European Union citizens and businesses. I'll give you a few figures. You can actually verify them. Take a look. European Union countries already have debts now, and these debts already significantly exceed the volume of their national GDP. In Belgium, 106%. In France, this figure is 116%. In Italy, it is 140%. In Germany, 150%. These are countries that, until recently, were the most prosperous and were leaders from an economic point of view. There, too, the risks of a significant increase in public debt are recorded, in particular in Germany. But let's look at the GDP growth of these countries. Perhaps there are some accelerated rates that could cover the aforementioned figures. No, this growth in the Eurozone, amounted to only about 1.3% at most. That is, GDP growth does not cover their indebtedness. Against this background, new borrowings are being taken from the European Union's own citizens for the sake of, as they say, the freedom of Ukraine. But in reality, for the sake of committing terrorist attacks and, so to speak, total militarization, which could lead to catastrophic consequences on the European continent. And what will all this lead to? To the fact that new infusions into the Kiev regime at the expense of European Union citizens will increase the accumulated deficit of national budgets and will become an additional factor in destabilizing the European Union financial system. Where is that reserve to which they can turn? What must or can happen so that the situation does not become catastrophic for them? Nothing. And the situation developing in the Persian Gulf zone will only aggravate everything that is happening there for them. Taking into account that the new loan is expected to be subject to repayment only after Ukraine receives, as they say, compensation for damages from Russia, these funds can be considered additional income for the insatiable and long bankrupt regime in Kiev, and simultaneously irrecoverable losses for the European Union. Now, regarding Hungary's position, in my opinion, I believe it would be better to refrain from drawing conclusions, because we simply haven't yet seen, so to speak, any steps from the new Hungarian government. Let's see how things develop there, and we will comment on their concrete, less their position than their concrete actions and steps.